We're all posting pictures of our dogs today.
Oh gosh, I got jokes. Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Yeah.
Getting to the end of the week.
Thanks,
I know.
Lord.
It's Thursday, so it's like Friday.
It's
in
Thursday,
Miami,
right?
where
Like
I'm from. Yeah.
Monday.
Okay, I didn't know that.
If we were in a 4-day week, this would be our Friday night.
This would
That's
be
true. Unless our 4-day week started on Tuesday.
Yeah.
This is too confusing for me.
You're a professor, right?
Yeah, but I.
Kind of professor.
Happy National Dog Day.
Oh, yay! Yay, Luna!
Look at Tony.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Thursday, August 26, 2021, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you're gonna see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and WMEG Events. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
Well, this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community here in South Florida, in America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. So first up, let's welcome anchor Tarek Turjuman. He is the host of Tonight with Tarek for the Villain Theater, the only place for alternative comedy in Miami, and a member of the House of Yes. Yes. Villain, why is it that we like to say that word? We really do, don't we? Villain Theater's only queer performance collective and Florida's only all LGBTQIA improv comedy show. He is a queer Guatemalan, born Palestinian comedian living in Miami. Good evening, Tarek.
Good evening, Al. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Let's
Yes.
please. Yes. We got a lot of yas today. My mother's here. We'll get to her. But first, let's please welcome anchor Dr. Tai Houser. He is an associate professor of English and Humanities at Broward College, nerd. Additionally, he teaches for extended periods of time at international colleges in China, India, Spain, and Bolivia. Slut, no, I'm kidding. Good evening, Tai.
Aren't you supposed to be funny?
Oh,
Next,
wow.
let's welcome anchor Auntie Maim. She's a singer, actor, activist, podcaster, and stand-up comic. See, Tarek? She's the mother of the House of Yas. She's currently hosting amazing colossal
Really
karaoke at Kill Your Idol and is hosting her own podcast, Baking Sugar, a designing women type podcast with North Carolina drag icon and divine Miss Mims. She's also the mother of Florida and the Southeast's only all queer comedy and performance collective based in Miami, performing at Villain Theater. Currently, you can catch her hosting Black is the New Black, an all-black stand-up comedy show in Miami, and the producer of Laugh Your Yas Off. Welcome, Auntie Maim.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a lot of energy. Let's welcome anchor Dr. Julio Capo Jr. He is a history professor and the deputy director of the Wilsonian Public Humanities Lab at Florida International University.
Nerd.
He's no, big nerd, big time, big nerd
True.
energy.
Actually, I went there. Maybe not.
He specializes in the history of race relations and immigration in the United States, as well as LGBTQ studies. He is the author of the book Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940, and curated a new exhibition called Messages from a Pandemic, AIDS Graphic Communication. Good evening, Julio.
Hey, I want to say yes, too. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Thursday, August 26th.
Well, let's begin by queering up gay culture. Well, have you heard? OnlyFans reverses the porn ban in all too rare victory for sex workers. Less than a week after announcing plans to limit explicit content, subscription site OnlyFans has rolled back its proposed policy changes. It had come under fire from creators and advocates who had claimed that the ban was an outright attack on sex workers' livelihoods, many of whom had helped build the platform. In a Wednesday tweet, the company announced it had, quote, secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community, end quote. Presumably, thanks to policy changes from banks, which had previously been unsupportive of the company's hosting of sex worker content. With these assurances in place, OnlyFans said it had therefore suspended the planned policy change. This is too little too late, however, for many in content and content producers who feel betrayed by the platform OnlyFans.
You know, I'm probably the only gay man that is upset with this reversal because I was literally looking forward to all those monthly subscription fees going away because my budget just can't handle it.
That's okay. Well, they're back now. Back with
That's
vengeance.
called addiction.
No,
It's called supporting local artists. Oh my God. I think it was a bit ridiculous when they did it because everyone was just saying, why would they do this knowing what happened to Tumblr?
Yeah.
They had a big example. But I guess, you know, the banks speak.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that Tumblr was a very clear example of this happening. So when Tumblr was sold to Yahoo, it sold for $1 billion. When they sold Tumblr again, they sold it for $3 million.
Yeah.
So
and the porn moved to Twitter. Like, we'll find a place. We're going to find a place
porn
to do.
Will find a way.
Sex work is work, and people need to treat it as such. I mean, this is.
You know, the most interesting part of the story now that the dust up is over is all of this, we're done with OnlyFans. Everyone's going to leave OnlyFans. Anybody want to take any bets that no one's going to be leaving OnlyFans? If you're a content provider on OnlyFans, I have friends that have in the hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
They're not going to just for fans. They're
me
not going to
too.
start all over. They're going to, whether they like OnlyFans or not, you're staying.
I do think that this gave Just for Fans a huge boost. It needed, you know. I joined a few in protest.
Yes, of
you
course.
know, but
And out of curiosity for the platform.
Yeah.
We got it. You were speaking for the
I will say this. Just for Fans doesn't have the workability of OnlyFans.
But
it is more
Please
technologically.
define workability.
No, don't. Can you do
It's
it
more
visually?
user friendly. It's more user friendly, and its design is more cleaner.
I think the sex workers, for lack of a better term, will just be straddling the fences now.
Oh, Auntie.
Okay.
That's why she's your mother.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Now let's queer up South Florida gay news. Watch this. No, right? No, there's nothing to watch.
No.
Just watch me, please. Research reveals the double disparities Black LGBT people face. Being a person of color is challenging in the United States. Being part of the LGBT communities can be difficult too. Recently released research examining the intersection of anti-LGBT and racial discrimination highlights the shockingly disproportionate harms inflicted on LGBT people of color. The National Black Justice Coalition led the report, the National Center for Lesbian Rights, the National LGBTQ Task Force, and Freedom for All Americas in collaboration with the What We Know Project, a research portal at the Center for the Study of Inequality at Cornell University. It found overwhelmingly consensus that discrimination inflicts profound, significant harm on LGBT people of color in various areas. Race-based bias leads to greater economic insecurity, poorer mental and physical health, and higher rates of suicidal thoughts. Get more on this story in this week's South Florida Gay News on Stands Now.
I don't even want to go there. Honestly, I don't know. It's one of those things where I appreciate stories like this, but at the same time, it's, well, a rock is a rock. So it's, you know, the LGBT community is just part of the larger American community that has its own race problems. So
it's all part of this, and I think, Julio, maybe some of your work references this as well, but there's always like the socioeconomic, gender identity, race relations, like all these things play into each other constantly
100%.
in order to create a cyclical relationship that we seemingly can never break.
Yeah, we can't separate our identities. Like, we are like this kind of compilation of things, and like Black queer feminists especially have been saying this for decades, right? The kind of interlocking forms of oppression that exist, whether it's through class and race and gender and sexuality. But I'm happy the story is being reported, and people. I mean, even though this is a known thing, you know, like that is that people have been experiencing this. People of color, queer people of color, have been experiencing this since forever, right? The kind of need to kind of move towards addressing these issues in this kind of necessary ways is I'm happy to see that and that cover.
You know, it's interesting to me. It's sad that what this report reminds us of is that we have as much discrimination bias in our own community as outside of our community. And if any community in America should be the most tolerant, it's the Black community and the LGBTQ community, and maybe to a lesser extent brown populations, Latino populations, but specifically in the Black community for what has happened in America over a long history period of time, and the LGBTQ community. You would think that LGBT would be better on this, and this reminds us we're not much better on this.
And I think that's
really sad.
Yeah, because I feel like even though, you know, we go through, you know, being, you know, queer or whatever, we're still part of the same system that educates us with, you know, a white take on things primarily. There's very little representation of queer people of color on television or, you know, and that affects us. That affects our community. If you want to see the true colors of the queer community, go on Grindr. Right? It's like, oh, peace and love, but no blacks, no trans, no femmes. I'm like, all right, okay.
The one good thing that let's draw a ray of sunshine on this. We're lucky to have an organization like South Florida Gay News in South Florida. They can dedicate the amount of space to a story like this because we consume our news like popcorn in the LGBTQ community. South Florida basically says, South Florida Gay News, no, this needs more explanation. We can't tell this story in 5 paragraphs, or I mean in 5 sentences. So it's good that South Florida Gay News is making this their cover article and their feature story this week. I'm happy to see it.
We'll pick it up. Next, we're going to queer up politics. Brian Sims reports huge campaign haul for Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor race. Pennsylvania State Representative Brian Sims is riding momentum as he reports a record-setting fundraising haul in his bid for Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor, reports the LGBTQ Victory Fund, an organization that works to elect out candidates to higher office. Victory Fund officials didn't release specific numbers, but Sims was a moneymaker from the start of his candidacy, raking in nearly $300,000 during the first 6 weeks of his campaign back in the spring. Sims has now reported donors from all 50 states and all U.S. territories. The Victory Fund notes, quote, if elected, Representative Sims would become the first out LGBTQ lieutenant governor of a U.S. state and one of just 9 out LGBTQ people elected to statewide office anywhere in the country. Pennsylvania has never elected an out LGBTQ person to statewide office.
Can I say just right away, right out of the gate, it is so exciting here at Queer News Tonight that we could get gubernatorial candidate, lieutenant gubernatorial candidate Sims here tonight at Queer News Tonight to do the story about your fundraising. Congratulations, sir, and we hope you become
I
lieutenant
actually
governor.
could use that money to pay off my OnlyFans bills. But no, I actually, in a move that's unprecedented for me, requested to do this story because I am a Penn Stater. I am from Pennsylvania, and I absolutely fell in love with him last year when he took the entire state Senate House to task for not announcing that they had a member with COVID that came into contact with them.
Wow.
So he went viral last year doing that. He's picking up steam. I think he's doing a great job, and he is a great progressive voice for the Commonwealth that I hold very close to my heart.
Who cares? He's cute.
Thank you very much.
I was going to say, it makes me ask again, is he your twin brother? What is it you...
I'll look him up next time I'm up there.
I giggled a little when you said moneymaker, like a little schoolgirl when I think about it. I've been following his career for a few years, at least 5 or 6 years, and I feel like he has, I think he's a real progressive. I think he's, I'm excited to see him moving in this way.
Isn't it shocking to report in a story like Tai has just done that we have no governors or lieutenant governors?
It's
shocking.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah.
It's
And also not shocking.
Yeah. We've got
Well, out lieutenants.
Out. That's true, actually. So
Did you just get thirsty?
always
Hey.
thirsty. All right, so let's queer up entertainment. Lil Nas X, noted power bottom, announces Montero's release date. Lil Nas X is here to give you narrative. After releasing his much discussed video for Industry Baby, Lil Nas X is ready to drop his entire album. In a new teaser trailer where he refers to himself as a power bottom, the star has announced that his debut album, Montero, will release on September 17th. In the tweet where he shared the trailer, he said, "Creating this album has been therapy for me. I've learned to let go of trying to control people's perception of who I am, what I can do, and where I will be. I've realized that the only opinion of me that really matters is my own." A week before he releases his album, he will be performing at the MTV Video Music Awards. He's nominated for 5 awards, and while he is likely to perform Industry Baby, we also hope he would also perform new music.
Yes, little Nax sauce.
Can't wait.
Love him so much. I follow everything he does.
Have you
He's
seen the
great.
overnight video?
Yes.
No, I have not seen it yet.
We were going to make a joke that he's the newest anchor at Queer News Tonight. That's what he
That's
does.
perfect,
He does.
yeah.
It would. You'd go, wait, is this
perfect.
Queer News Tonight? Because it looks it.
I can't wait. I think that this is something for me that I love most about him is that he not just empowers, but he really has pointed out just the absolute double standard and hypocrisy of the music industry, which I always love when that gets called out anyway. But just the fact that Industry Baby especially, I've never seen so many people object to men being objectified in my life. And I'm like, I've seen women displayed in this way for decades.
Yeah.
And this is like the first time you've seen this. And it's just amazing because, you know, they're like, think of the children and this and that. I'm like, this has been going on, everyone. This is just, all we're doing is reversing the sex.
Yeah,
That's it.
And you know, one other interesting observation in addition to that is it makes me smile that he takes on the label. He makes the joke in the video that was released overnight, the so-called rapper. He makes fun of the people making fun of him.
Yeah.
And in the news report on the Queer News Tonight story that he does of reporting on the self-proclaimed power bottom.
Yeah.
You know, when you can take on
Bottom
those-
repreparation.
It's so important.
right. When you
Feel seen.
can be so
Yes, I think you're
confident.
represented around this table quite well.
Yes. No. But when you can take on those labels so seamlessly and go, you know, I'm worried about this for a long time, but I don't care what you
I don't care.
Yeah.
And he's so young. I feel like to have this kind of ownership of himself and is such a beautiful thing to watch and to. He's also so quick.
He's a marketing genius.
Yeah,
I
marketing
think his
genius.
biggest talent is being such a great marketing,
Yeah.
even communicator. He's great on Twitter. He has
Yeah.
great comebacks. There might be a team behind him.
and think
he
about-
reminds me of Madonna in her earlier
Yeah,
years,
in
where she
86,
used her
87.
performances and videos.
Yeah.
Back then, a Catholic woman doing what she was doing was
was unheard of.
maybe as
Yes.
prolific as a gay man of color doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, but her biggest talent was using her message in a way that also
Could you imagine
commercialized
also
her.
having representation of a little Nas X when we were 16 or
Oh my
17
God.
or 18 years old,
I can't
it would be a
even.
whole different world.
Yeah.
The most encouraging thing in this situation, you referenced his age. I think he's 21 or 22
Yeah, he's
years
something
old.
like that.
This issue of what's going on in Gen Z, we've reported just this week that the numbers of Gen Zers are reporting 4 and 5 times the number of LGBT than we ever thought existed. And this is part of what is propelling it, because they're just going, we really don't even understand what your hate is.
We can confirm those numbers. Someone comes out at Villain Theater every week.
Literally.
Wow.
Literally.
It's like what?
I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
you too? Okay. But it's
Right.
funny that you said that about him and about this generation, because I was 13 when RuPaul came out, and I can still remember just the surrounding energy of that.
Yeah.
And so I can't even imagine something that's a force like Lil Nas X now happening, because it's something that makes not just like the queer kids, but it also makes the straight kids kind of say like, oh wait, maybe there's nothing really that wrong with these things.
That's powerful.
Also, it's a musical artist that's standing at the MTV Awards. He's going to perform. He's there with all the other heterosexual artists that are #1 on the radio. So he's not being treated as a gay artist commercially. He's stepped it up. He's, on par with, the heterosexual.
An interesting observation, and we're spending a lot of time on this, an interesting observation.
It's an important topic.
That is completely different than Ricky Martin.
Oh yes.
When Ricky Martin was the secret love interest, quote unquote, of Madonna, the industry, in rumor and then not so much rumor, held him up as the gay. Oh, look at the beautiful gay singer.
Yeah.
That Little Nas is. Don't call me beautiful. I am. Don't call me gay. I am. I'm a power bottom. I am is what he is saying, which is completely different than even what we saw
he's
20
taking
years
control
ago.
of it and ownership of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful story. Beautiful message.
Now, let's queer up the USA. Cop arrested for Capitol riot demands conservatives, quote, rise up against the homosexual lifestyle. Watch this.
You on this Monday morning. Just want to touch base with you in reference to things that are happening in this nation. Things are moving very, very fast. And I want to encourage pastors and patriots to rise up and do what they're supposed to do, to raise people up and to get them to action. Nothing is more important. We look at January 6th. January 6th was a day that patriots just were fed up. They were fed up. Patriots are being arrested left and right, day after day, being arrested for trespassing. You got to be kidding me. You can steal an election. You can steal an election and go after people for trespassing. You guys are hypocrites. I want to let you know something. If the FBI and the DOJ went after pedophiles and child pornography, if they just put half the effort in going after these pedophiles and this child pornography, this country would be in better shape. But you're going after patriots, people that love this country, people that would die for this country. I'm telling you, you are hypocrites. All y'all are hypocrites, including the Republicans. Including the Republicans. The Republicans are calling for the arrest of people that went into the Capitol. They're arresting patriots that love this country. Black Lives Matter and Antifa destroyed cities and buildings and businesses. Mom and pop shops cost billions of dollars in damages, and the Democrats stood up for them and raised millions of dollars to get them out of jail. But the Republicans, the weak, I want to say a swear word, but I want to let you know something. These Republicans are weak. You're calling for the arrest because they trespassed, and we need to rise up and become conservative again. Conservative again. You remember what conservative means, Republicans? You remember what conservative means? Here we are. We're embracing the homosexual lifestyle as if this is normal. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate homosexuals. I got a lot of homosexual friends. But when we're pushing it in mainstream, and every channel you turn on is the rainbow flag. And Pride Month, we're nowhere near Pride Month, but Skittles wants to continue with the pride stuff. And everywhere you look is the pride stuff. Conservatives now want to embrace drag queens at all of our events. And you see people hugging the drag queens as if they're a part of mainstream. We're not supposed to be a part of mainstream. We're supposed to be a counter to the mainstream.
I don't know if y'all know this, but some of my best friends are black. I have some black friends. I do. I have some black friends.
Oh my God! Is it just me or like?
Well, hold on.
nature, like-
Let's
I haven't read the story.
let's hear more about this story from Julio before we start talking about
Oh, sorry.
Dr. Capo.
I was just so excited to tell people I had
I was like, I'll read it or we don't have to. We could just stop giving this man space. A police officer facing charges for allegedly storming the Capitol on January 6th is now angry that the Republican Party is supporting, quote, alternative lifestyles and demanded conservatives, quote, rise up against the homosexual lifestyle. Kevin Tuck, formerly of the Windermere, Florida Police Department, was arrested in July in connection to the Capitol insurrection, where supporters of Donald Trump attacked the Capitol to prevent Congress from certifying the vote in the 2020 elections. They chanted for the death of former Vice President Mike Pence while trying to prevent the election's results from being accepted so that Trump could stay president. 5 people died.
So wait, what's his name?
Tuck.
Tuck. So and he goes by Pastor.
Pastor Tuck.
Pastor Tuck.
Yeah, his
And he's
OnlyFans
complaining
is
about
Pastor
drag queens. That sounds like a perfect drag name to me.
It does,
Pastor
actually.
Tuck.
Definitely
Yeah,
drag king,
totally.
though.
You know, it's so easy for us to make fun of him
Yeah.
because he, first off, and I rarely say this, dude, you're an idiot. Period. You're an idiot. But you know what's sad about it? The idiocy of Pastor Tuck is also scary.
Yes.
This guy is scary.
Yeah, this is horrifying. This is very serious.
Yeah. Our best response is to make joke and humor. But
Yeah.
it really isn't.
I mean, the problem with Pastor Tuck is that if we take what he did, right, he was part of the insurrection.
Yeah.
So when you think to people like that, like you said, dog whistling, right, there are people that hear these words and think, oh yeah, I'm going to take up action, right? I'm going to do these things. I'm going to go to my closest gay community and raise heck and things like that. And that's the problem, is that we do joke about it, and it is, you know, obviously like so ridiculous, but there are people that it will see and affect a different way, and those people are the ones that I am definitely frightened of.
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting too, before we move on to the next story, one thing that I do appreciate that he brings to our attention is with all of the things that we have going on in our world and all of the problems that we have faced over the last now 4.5 years, I appreciate that he is bringing to our attention that one of our greatest problems is Skittles and the color.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I mean, that's what made me gay, really, as a kid.
It was once you had the
all
taste of
those
the rainbow.
Skittles. Yeah, the rainbow tastes good.
And how does he know that we all get an email on Monday with our agenda?
I mean, we follow that very closely.
Yes, we do. And I know every gay person in America, Pastor Tuck. Every single one.
That is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6th, 2020. Tonight, we report that as of today, more than 2,747,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 45,000 LGBTQ plus Americans that have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because of today, more than 364 million vaccination doses have been administered in the USA.
That is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
I am Daniel Quintana, CFO of Domi Real Estate, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
I'm sorry, Dr. Capo, what?
Nothing. What?
Well, we finished tonight's Queer News headlines with what we call, text me out, with what we call in our segment LGBTQ plus Flash News. So, today in LGBTQ plus Flash News, Trump Jr. mocks Biden over Afghanistan, saying he wants the Taliban renamed to be LGBTaliban plus. Well, you can always count on Donald Jr. to try and make a joke about a horrific situation as the U.S. prepares to fully withdraw its troops from Afghanistan and end its airlifting of refugees out of Kabul airport. Thousands are still trying to escape the country. The Taliban, which is now taking control of Kabul, said yesterday that the U.S. must stick to this goal and that if any troops remain any longer, it would be a violation of the previous agreements. Donald Trump Jr. has been repeatedly criticizing Biden's handling of Afghanistan's withdrawal, despite it being his father who initially pledged to withdraw all troops before the end of 2020, particularly in the wake of the desperate scenes we have seen from the Kabul airport.
Well, if Donald Jr. says it, we should be concerned. Both Republicans and Democrats have failed in Afghanistan. We as a nation have failed in Afghanistan. However, more Republicans made bigger mistakes. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
He's just more proof that if you're a rich white guy, you can whine about anything and get away with it.
Yeah.
That and more. I'm so. We need you to go away. And also, I mean, with thinking about all the kind of things that are happening here with feminist politics, with the refugee crisis. To imagine that this is a kind of comment that you can make to desensitize, it's preposterous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want somebody to take his cocaine away.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
You know, when I saw this comment about LGBTaliban plus, I thought that the administration was the most embracing LGBT presidency ever in history. What happened?
Pride Kabul 2022. He's coming.
Right.
I love a good kaftan. Anyways, LGBTQ plus Flash News. Students walk out of class in protest of school forcing gay coach to quit. Watch this.
It's basically highlighting me as a Christian and my journey in Christianity as a gay man. So their terms or denounce being gay or be released as a coach fully.
The school says the coach misrepresented many aspects of what actually happened, but did wish him well in future endeavors. CBS 4's Katie Weiss live this evening near Valor High. And Katie, what was the message from the students out there today?
Well, Jim, students here are pretty fired up, to say the least. They say the culture at this school really needs to change. Now, more than 30 students stood outside of Valor Christian High School today for over an hour, taking turns speaking about their personal experiences with discrimination at the school and their disgust that the school would ask former volleyball coach Enoke Tonga to choose between being gay or being an employee. The student who organized today's protest tells me she wants the school to have more accepting policies.
Enoke Tonga, who works at Valor Christian High School in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, shared his ordeal on social media. He stated that he was called into a meeting with a campus pastor and athletic director where he was told to, quote, become a child of God, or be forced to leave his job as head coach of the girls volleyball at the school. He was then accused of being gay based on social media posts and fired. Now, students at the school have shown their support to the volleyball coach by walking out of class on Tuesday, and demanding significant change to the school's policy and culture. Yas, kids!
That's right.
So I want to say this, and I say it all the time on this show, and I want to say it to all of you students out there watching. I see you. I'm watching you come through college, and I see the change that you're trying to enact, and I want you to keep up that fight because it's worth it.
Yes, I see it too. I see it at Villain Theater. All the younglings coming in, it's, they're way more accepting. They're ready for a change. So I think that they're really the only thing that gives me hope nowadays is that generation.
For sure. I feel like as we, echoing all of that really is just how, it's beautiful to see all these students stand in support of really kind of all of us. Like, that is to think of how far we've come.
I mean, honestly, this is just another story that displays why the Christian Taliban is slowly losing its younger people.
Yes.
You know, they're abandoning the church at rapid rates, and it's really because this is not how a person lives in a free society. So I'm so thankful that those young people are taking the stand they are.
This teacher being fired in Colorado in 2021 is the absolute reason why you have to have the Equality Act.
Yes.
Because it would not stand. And second, I hope Minority Leader McCarthy and Senator Lindsey Graham watches this video, because as they watch these young people and these students march out of their classrooms and into the parking lots in support of this this teacher and against the firing, they should cry, because that's the future of who's going to vote you out of office.
100%.
Yes. Ooh. LGBTQ plus flash news. Statue of trans icon Marsha P. Johnson erected in New York City Park. A bust of transgender activist Marsha P. Johnson has been erected in Christopher Park in New York City. It is the first monument of a transgender person in the city park system. The park is near the Stonewall Inn and features a separate statue, Gay Liberation, commissioned in 1980 and installed in 1992. The piece features statues of 2 men and 2 women that are painted white. Gay Liberation has been critiqued for focusing on white cisgender people and leaving out the transgender and people of color who were part of the Stonewall riots in 1969. The Stonewall Inn, the gay bar at the heart of the riot, has been a designated national monument. I mean, this is so much better than that movie that we got with the white guy that threw the brick.
That's right.
Instead of actual
God.
the actual people of color.
Yeah.
You know, the recognition of the monument and what has happened over the last couple of years, the white phrase, Marsha, 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 has never meant more to us.
Yes, 100%. I'm just glad to see less white supremacist statues and more queens of color, honey, because, you know.
Yes!
And really, we can't forget that, you know, trans women of color lead the way in what is queer rights. Yeah. So we wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah. Progress. Another story of progress, one right after the other. I like it.
Yeah.
It's also, I mean, so many of our stories today have been about the importance of intersectionality, and to kind of put this story at this, to kind of end with this story is such a great kind of, you know, bookend to this, you know, narrative.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Dr. Capo, we're going to go to a gay bar.
Let's do it. LGBTQ plus flash news. DC gay bar patrons welcome proof of vaccination requirement. The overwhelming majority of patrons of the 8 DC gay bars that announced earlier this month that patrons must show proof that they have been vaccinated for COVID-19 as a condition for being admitted have expressed support for the vaccination policy, according to employees and patrons of the bar. The decision by the 8 bars to require either proof of vaccination or proof that a potential customer has tested negative for the coronavirus within the previous 3 days came shortly after DC Mayor Muriel Bowser issued an order reinstating the city's requirement that face masks must be worn inside all businesses and other establishments open to the public, which includes bars and restaurants. The order took effect July 31st.
Oh, I think that I would love for that to be done here as well, just because as much as I would love to believe in my fellow man doing the right thing, I know there are plenty of people that aren't vaccinated that are out cavorting as if nothing is happening. So bravo to them.
Yeah.
And I cheer these moves of LGBTQ bars and our community. 92% of our community has been vaccinated, reports are showing. And the reason why we must and why I cheer it is because I follow the recommendation in Twitter from the FDA that you are not a horse and you are not a cow. So y'all just stop it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I think gays love vaccinations, you know, Botox, fillers.
There's a long history.
You know, I think it's great. I think it's also a great move by business owners and the business community to, you know, to take leadership and save. Well, I'm not sure the governor of Pennsylvania is as bad as ours. I'm sure he's not, or they are not. But you know, here in Florida,
we have DeSantis. There's nobody worse.
Nobody. No, but here, if you want to protect your patrons or your community, you have to take the leader, be the leader yourself and then face the consequences, right? So I like the fact that these business owners got together and be like, I think majority of us would prefer if everyone was.
Well, and just as a reminder to everyone that is questioning this decision, my card, it's that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, get vaccinated. Right. Get vaccinated if you can. Yeah.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world and the world's first only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the mini groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. On behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Tarek Turjuman, Dr. Tai Houser, Auntie Maim, and Dr. Julio Capo. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.